So we've done that, and here's a nice summary, right? So you've seen I, you've seen V, you've been superscript and subscripts, and if you embed something within code tag, it'll display as a computer code, as you might see here, like that. Okay? And of course, there's U for underline, right? Okay. And there's a little test I have for you, right? So I want you to format this one exactly like this, okay? Shown here. But you don't have to type all that because I have text information up here. You can just copy and paste. If you go to github.com/my username, there should be Tech at NYU workshops. You click on it. If you follow along, there should be wiki over here. And HTML plus CSS workshop 1. If you go inside, you'll see all the text we're going to play with here so that you can just copy and paste. Right? So with the same HTML file that you've been working with, right? Copy and paste that text 1, okay? And try to mimic this formatting over here. And you can go around and help. So the lab partners are going around. If you have any questions, oh, so it's github.com. Here, right? So notice how I use this code tag to indicate my chemical equation.
Yeah, sure thing.
Up there, and that's a lot of super and sub over there, and I italicized it. You know, keyboard cat is italicized, and chemistry is bold. Right? Doing? Why for doing? For that?
No, for code around the.
Oh, to make it sense, right? If you don't put, let's say that and get it.
Code tag just provides a visual.
Right, so it's a Fourier font. Right, it doesn't mean anything, but it makes it look like a code. So it makes it look like that font.
Normally it puts it into Fourier, but really it's their default monospace font.
Yep.
When I did your ampersand LT thing, semicolon 3, it didn't make it look any different.
So you just use the less than sign?
Yeah.
Okay, so for some browsers that works,
Okay,
but for some browsers, they treat it as an opening tag.
Okay.
Right? Yes.
What's the difference between code and an entity name?
Code and what?
Entity name. So like instead of you'd also do like ampersand pound 60 semicolon, and you'd also still get like a less than sign.
Yeah. So right. So there are a lot of different ways of representing character, right? So you can write all your alphabets in hexadecimal code, right? So for every single key that you press on your keyboard has an hexadecimal representation that a computer can understand, right? So that the one you found is a hexadecimal representation of the decimal sign, right? And this one I say user friendly because it's LT, less than, right? Alright, so are we ready to move on? Yes? Okay, so I have this one up here, but it's just one blob, right? It's ugly, right? It's just one big chunk. And we want to organize it in a way that it's easier for us to read and it's better presented to users, right? So let's get into that. In order to do that, right? And, right? All the points. But anyways. Alright, for that, I'm going to go to my text editor, right? And I'm going to organize this code a little bit so that it's easier to read. Alright, so the HTML provides headers or heading text, right? That ranges from H1 to all the way to H6, right? H1 being the most important title, most biggest heading of all, and which also means that it has the biggest font, right? So you say H1 this way, right? It'll have a giant font on your web browser. Well, not that big, relatively big, like this, right? It's huge, right? Also notice is that it gets a little bit of margin on the top and the bottom, right? To indicate it's a separate entity on your HTML. So I don't need to have that big of a title, so let me change that to H3, right? H1 being the biggest and H6 being the smallest. Okay. So I'm going to change that to introduction. Okay, so I want to break down my big, giant, this, I don't know what it is, into different paragraphs, right? So how do you turn text into paragraphs? It's pretty simple, right? So like all the other text, right? You have a paragraph tag, right? It's just a p tag. So you start a paragraph with a p tag, right? And you end it with a p tag. Where should I end? Wait, no, that's not good. So I'm going to make this one into one paragraph, and that paragraph ends here, and another paragraph starts here and ends here. All right, and I also want to center this thing, right? Hello, my name is Eric, in the middle. So intuitively, it's a center tag, right? So you surround the things that you want to center around center tags, right? So you surround that with center tags. Yep.
If you want to have spaces between paragraphs, is that 2 paragraphs?
So, right. So one very good thing about using paragraph tag is that it recognizes it as a paragraph and it gives a margin at the bottom. So you get a space in between.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seemed to already, at least in Chrome, already recognize that whatever came after the heading was a new paragraph. Because it brought it was already aligned down.
Wait, 2 different paragraphs?
Yeah, without the paragraph tag, right after the headings, it showed up on different lines.
Heading with the margin on it anyways.
Yeah.
Like I said, each browser processes things differently. So you just need to play around with it. Yes.
Are there specific text editors or cases where you don't need to use the paragraph tag for it to recognize that there's space, like spacing between your lines in your code is going to register as a space on the screen?
So I'm going to talk a little bit more about space issues, but in a strict sense, HTML does not recognize any space. other than just one space between. Alright, so I have two paragraphs now. Yes.
Like Einstein's equations, it ends for like 7 times. It shouldn't do anything but replace that space and show. In the code, just break the line up, and it won't do anything in the browser, just to show people.
Yeah. So like this, right? So even though you do that, right, on your web browser, if you render it, right, that equation will still be on the same line, right? So the space issues on your text editor doesn't really matter. Right, so now I have a heading called introduction, and I've centered that text, one paragraph, and I have another paragraph down here, which looks a little more presentable. Okay. Alright, so here's a summary, right? P tag indicates a paragraph, and center centers things, and H1 through H6 different types of headings, and here's your next task, right? Using the same text that you used before, now I want you to format it this particular way, right? Alright, so let's see the solution. Is that what you got? I have a paragraph tag over here, and I centered my code, or my equation over here, right? And that ends somewhere here, right? So that's my entirety of my chemical formula. And I have another paragraph tag starting here and ending here. That's a cool question.
What up, Jeff?
What's your name? Jason.
So if you render this,
What?
you get this, right? So there's one paragraph, there's my code, and there's another paragraph. Okay? Alright, but still this paragraph is a bit too long, and I want to break it down into several different lines. So